Oh, Jesus!
I first heard about the Beacham from a friend of mine that worked here doing the promotions. I joined the team and started hearing all the little stories and the lore from all of my coworkers.
I haven't seen anything too crazy. I'll see things out of the corner of my eyes sometimes, but I've heard things.
The only thing I had heard prior to working here was that it used to be a prison once upon a time. Until I started working here, did I start getting the full spectrum of it was a prison, it was a silent movie theater, and then people started asking me as I was working here, hey, you guys know that place is haunted, right?
Well, I have heard stories. I did a little research when I started working here. As far as my experiences, I work here a lot by myself. I work during the day when there's no one around, and I fix what everybody breaks. A lot of my experiences are mainly strange noises, which kind of become normal after a while, so you ignore them.
The Beacham was built in 1918. They built the Beacham Theater over what was once the old county jail. The lore is that there were many executions and hangings at the old county jail that took place in the front of the Beacham when it was a dirt road that is now Orange Avenue. The back parking lot behind the Beacham was the burial lot for the prisoners that were executed.
I was doing my computer task work, reading my emails, and I'd hear footsteps walking around, and in my head I'm like, oh, we got the maintenance guys. I walk out of the office and I realized, wait, there's nobody here. So I'm texting the guy who does maintenance. No, I'm off today. Okay, so you have somebody filling in for you? No, it's just you. About a week later, I was talking to one of the girls in the office about it, and she was telling me about her experiences here. There's a haunting of the spirit of Mrs. Beacham floating here. But for me, I'm like, I don't know, because the pitter-patter I heard didn't sound like a Mrs. Pitter-patter.
Miss Roberta Beacham passed away in 1926. She allegedly hung herself in the mezzanine of the Beacham.
I read about someone hanging themselves, and it was a female. So every time we hear a noise or something odd happens, we say, oh, it's Miss Beacham.
This is the area that she allegedly hung herself. Her family, socialites, did not want to admit to public that she hung herself because she was sad because her husband just passed away, but that is the lore, that she killed herself. I saw her clear as day. I was sitting at my desk and I glanced down the hallway because I thought I saw something, and as I looked, I just saw a woman in period dress float by the doorway, and she was gone. And then I just continued typing along my merry way. And that was my first encounter with Mrs. Beacham, but clear as day, she just floated right across the doorway. And I looked, I saw her, and kept typing. We all assume it's Mrs. Beacham. It could be anybody, but we believe it's Roberta. And it wasn't until I got to see Mrs. Beacham for myself the first time while I was working during the day that I realized everything they were telling me was true.
When I started working here, people kind of gave me a disclaimer. With the bathroom stall at the social, don't go in the middle stall, or people would tell me stories of what they've seen and what they've heard. And so I kind of knew going into it, okay, I gotta keep my ears and eyes open because I might see something, but I want to, so I welcome it. In the other bathrooms, I feel like, okay, this is a little creepy or whatever, but in here I actually feel scared sometimes.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I don't like being in here alone.
We have an area here called the green room, whereas the VIP area, they have a little private bathroom. The nightclub is closed, probably 7, 8 o'clock p.m. And I use the bathroom, and as I'm in the bathroom, using the bathroom, I hear footsteps and I hear guys talking and all this conversation, and I'm thinking, who the heck is in the club? And then when I step outside, there was not one person anywhere in sight. There's a door that leads to the parking lot. I opened it up, not one car parked in the parking lot. That was like my first main experience. That I was like, whoa.
I had a guy come in. He was telling us about this whole history of like tunnels and stuff under the theater that I didn't know about. So then it got me wondering, like, what were they using these tunnels for? What's in those tunnels?
So the tunnel went from the Beacham underground under Orange Avenue across to the hotel the Angie built. I was told that that original tunnel was used at that time. Black artists were not allowed to come through the front doors of the venues. They had to be brought through the tunnels underground into the orchestra pit. So our tunnel actually ends backstage. If you can find an employee that has not encountered something strange here, it's got to be such a low percentage. Everybody has a story. If you're here long enough, and if you're here in the quiet hours and you're working in spaces where there's nobody else, you're bound to have some sort of experience.